Alright, so the global version has officially gotten the full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku Easy A, and of course, this is a global first Easy A, so unfortunately, me myself, I haven't had any opportunities to use this guy, try him out as I am a JP main. However, I have been seeing a lot of discussion on the timeline, and really a lot of people do actually think that this guy is not really that great, right? And I just wanted to go ahead and ask, just ask, people I follow, people that follow me, right? Just their thoughts on how good they feel that he is now that he's officially out and there's gameplay and stuff like for that, right? Actually, I watched Goresh's showcase video, and I think he made some very good points that I agree with in that video. So I would say, if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check it out. I think he definitely shows a lot of realistic situations like red zone type things, right? So I think he did a really good job showing out what this guy could do. But that's what I'm gonna kind of base my in-game experience on, just seeing that video right there. Um, but there's other things I want to point out as well. So again, this is his kit. Just to break it down real quick, he has a 30% raise of attack and defense for one turn on super attack, immense damage, and then mask with the lowest defense. This doesn't really matter, right? It's nothing really special. He gets 159% attack and defense at the start of turn, and can get an additional 100% based on his HP remaining. With the more HP he has, the greater the stat boost he has. So I'll explain more about that later. I feel like people may bring that up. If there's a full superclass rotation, he gets key 3 and an additional 59% attack and defense. That's not really like anything like I would say like difficult to get, right? This is gonna be pretty easy to get. He has a 30% chance to counter super attacks, and then if there's a full power category ally in the same turn and his HP is 59% or below, he can foresee enemy super attack. So that's basically just generalized his kit, right? These are his links. He's on a bunch of category teams. It's been on the screen long enough, so if you want to really like read into this, feel free to pause, but I'm going to dive straight into the comments, which I feel like is basically the main part of the video. I'm going to look over them and see my thoughts and give my impact on that. Alright, about as good as you thought he would be, better than Indigo and Frieza's to your content, and I think that's fair, right? Like, because I would say no matter what, this guy is still going to be runnable in red zone content based on the numbers that I've seen, even at like 50% ish HP or so. His defense wasn't like anything spectacular, but especially if you're using items and support memories, he'll definitely be able to help you get through a red zone run. Even Broly, Android 13, right? Stuff like that. Super 17, something like that. He could definitely be helpful for you. It's just that you don't want to be like too low in HP. Definitely a top 7 STUR. You do wish he had more tech built in. Crit, additional, maybe drop his attack to 59% damage reduction instead. Then we're talking. Yeah, I made a point about this, but I think something that could have been really interesting is this right here. What if they change this to crit chance and damage reduction 59%? Now that would have made this guy absurdly powerful compared to getting the extra stats, right? Obviously his pure attack stats would not be as high, but that crit chance would be really good. And of course the damage reduction I'd take, just alone the damage reduction I probably would take with the full buff, right? And that just makes sense because so many units nowadays have built-in additionals, built-in critical hits, damage reduction, something like that, guard stacking that really will allow them to have a lot more help against these like kind of red zone super attacks. Goku doesn't really have that besides the 30% counter chance, which is not something I can necessarily say you want to rely on. So I think that definitely is a good point. I think he is a very good easy ATUR. I just think that I agree they could have given him some more for sure, right? I'm not saying he's anything busted. I would say that overall I saw a lot of consensus. People don't like him, and I think he's better than what people may think. He's fine, could have been better for sure. Something that would have been cool was that if his HP got lower, he got damage reduction. That would have been cool as well, right? If they added something on top of that. Again, I see a lot of people don't like this ability, and I definitely would agree. I don't like the ability either because, especially, just in general difficult content, you're going to enter the turn at lower HP, because especially now these super attacks just hit way too hard. You're not always gonna have the luxury of having an item up either, right? Items are usually used to recover after the turn starts, right? And that's not the thing, is that this activates the starter turn. It doesn't fluctuate, mid-turn, right? Or it's not like, you could heal up and then collect orbs and it just changes. That's not how it works, unfortunately. But keep in mind that it's 10%. It's basically going to be, it's per the HP that you have, right? So it doesn't go like, if you're at 92% HP, you get 92% of the buff, right? It's 10%, right? It goes by chunks of 10. So if you're at 90 to 100% HP, you get the full buff. 80 to 90% HP, you get the 90% buff, like that. That is how it would work. So like even if you're like at 44% HP, you'll still get the 50% buff right here. And he still has a this and this. So again, a good chunk of his defense you'll still be able to have active, right? I think that this is important, but I see a lot of people comparing it to, I'll bring up the unit STR Nappa, right? Is another unit that's kind of similar to this, but I think there's a major difference. And it's the fact that STR Nappa does get his entire defensive buff from his passive, besides the support from this, right? This is a huge number. For each 10% that is lower, he loses 78% basically, because again, it would be dividable by 10, right? Doesn't really name it here, but that's why like Nappa, because it's such a huge number. So when you like get down to like 50% HP, you lose like what? It's I'm trying to think of 780 divided by 2. How much would that be? Like, that's like 4 math. No, it's like 360 or something. Yeah, like 360%, right? And obviously that's a huge jump down from 780, right? That's half of that you lost, right? Well, as compared to this, right, even if you're at 50% HP, you're still gonna get 50% of this, right? And you have the starter turn buff. So I think it's a really big difference, but it's a relatable, kind of thing you could say about it. He's alright. Locking foresight behind full power allies is dumb, since you're never running up to other full power units. I would say that's true, right? Again, the full power category, I think if they made this condition better, either get rid of this or get rid of this. Like, get rid of one of the two things, and I think that'd be fine. I kind of like this though, because what happens is you're at lower HP, right? You lose the stats, but now you know where the super attack is. He still will reasonably be able to do fine against normal attacks in most situations, and you could just hide him from the super attack, right? And that could be very powerful. But again, there's none of the other Super Saiyan 4s are on full power, and those are the units you will use him with, right? Like, the only like fused fighter unit on here is Kefla, and she's on full power, right? Which could definitely work out, right? I mean, again, on some of these teams you can get like some of these units, like Blue Evolution Vegeta maybe on the parent-child bond category, like a lot of these Gokus and Vegetas, like Namek Goku, right? But I would say the best option is probably like one of these Count Cauliflas, because you have to keep in mind there's Pan. Pan is not on global right now, so I won't really talk about it too much, but at least in the future, Pan does lead a 200% leader skill bond of friendship, and then it's Dragon Ball Seekers and GT Heroes get the 200%. So he will be on that category team, either when it comes to global or when it comes to JP, right? Count Caulifla is of course also on at least the 170%, so you can get that from her. But again, outside of that, you're not really gonna run this guy on the units on this team. You're not really gonna run them with, especially on rotation, because he really wants these powerful Super Saiyan 4 links, Saiyan Roar and GT, right? Those give a ton of attacking defense. Defense could have been better. He ain't Blue Evolution Vegeta. Again, I agree. Maybe one thing they could have changed as well, if they didn't want to give damage reduction, make this a great race. I think that would be a really huge difference, because of how much attacking defense he gets at the start of turn. That would greatly increase how good that ability could be. Maybe they make this when attacking so that it's a triple multiplicative buff, and his D stats would go a lot higher if this was a double multiplicative buff, right? Obviously, I guess technically he wouldn't be ran in slot 1 as well, but he's not really going to be a slot 1 unit anyways, I feel. His defense is not high enough to be a slot 1 unit. Damage reduction. I think a lot of people think damage reduction. You think now that he'll finally get easy? I mean, yeah, this guy, I think this guy's easy in the future could be really helpful for Dokkan Fest Pan. Because they'll share a good amount of links, right? But it's not really about Goku specifically. You need more offense and defense to be top tier. I would say, especially defense. Offensively, I think he's okay, right? Like, he's doing like 8-9 million attack stats, right? I wouldn't say necessarily bad. Obviously, you know, no crit or anything, though. If you're HP, he's fine. Otherwise, kind of mid. I wouldn't say kind of mid. I think he's solid, right? Yeah, he did get an easy A. He did. Okay, Raspberry here. He's trying him now against Broly. He's keeping up very fine. Loses around 100k defense if there's extreme unit. So, yeah, that makes sense, right? Might open the doors for a new one. You like him all around and saying link set, good damage. They could have given more defense, but that's not for every new unit, right? Being seen this pretty consistently, saying he's a solid floater, right? So this guy's, you know, mostly linked level 10, right? Rainbowed. And he's at about 266k defense. I wouldn't say that's anything special, right? His attack stats pretty nice. I would say that his stats could be higher for sure, but what he's gonna get around what 80, 70k defense on top of this. So mid 350s, right? Nothing special, but he's not full link level 10. I don't know his equips either, right? Actually, I want to talk, since I already brought up equips, I'll talk about this as well. So keep in mind that I think one thing that a lot of people are seeing is like these calculations, especially earlier, but they don't really calculate him with these equips, right? So he can get 1700 at defense potentially from equips, right? 500 for the bronze equips you can get from like chain battle and stuff. 600 from the Shadow Dragon Saga silver equip. That one is completely free to grind. And then 600 from a gold EX equip, which you can get from basically any extreme super battle road stage. And he's on, again, a ton of category teams. So I would say it's likely that you'll be able to get one of them for this guy. And again, since it's an EX equip, you can kind of slide it back and forth on the units, right? And then obviously you want to do additional attacks. Now with these, this would be his defense at full HP, right? Obviously most of the time he won't really be at full HP, but just for this, so we can see he's like full pass or what he could be, right? No support, 354k defense, 461 with 1 super attack, which I think is acceptable, considering that he does have the 30% chance to counter at least, right? But if he does get hit, he'll still get hit very hard from supers. This is where I'm starting to be like, okay, I'm raising an eyebrow a little, like 560k. Again, nothing like great, but you know, it is what it is. 40% support you can see often, I think, from like, you know, Gohan and Goten. 388k, 505k, and 622k. Now, keep in mind, this is under Pan's leader skill, so it's not really something that can be done right now, obviously, as Pan is not on the global version, but I don't think this is really too bad, especially, you know, in this situation, he could look quite good, I think, for sure, but that's the thing, right? I think that this might not be 100% realistic for every player, but it's something that he can do. Does pretty well even at bare minimum. He can't take a red zone Broly, but if you think that every unit needs to, put a sock in it. I would say not every unit needs to, but I mean, I would say that as a tech unit, it would be nice if you could do well in that event. Top 5, easy 2 wires, completely runnable, godly link sets, more defense than year 7 till turn 6. That is kind of true, actually. Year 7's, you know, defense stats aren't really the highest, for sure. I feel people are too harsh on him. Impressive damage, great link sets, not peak defense. I would say so. I think that, you know, people saying no tech, really, I think that they really value this 30% chance to counter. I'll personally value it as high, but I could see the point for that, and especially since he could foresee super attack too. I think maybe they didn't put as much stock into this, but who knows how many buffs this category will get. I mean, there's tons of easy A's, like, you know, Age of Gohan, for example, and Cell that could really explode that team. Okay, very mid across the board, mediocre, 400k defense, not good enough. No building crit. There's some very weird easy A's. It was hyped. I think that, you know, for sure, hyped as a global first easy A, he could have been better, but I think that people are underrating him just a little bit. So I don't necessarily agree. I wouldn't say his defense is mediocre. It's just not really like, you know, what you would like to see, especially now that, well, I guess since this is a global first EZA, I don't even want to blame it as much because Red Zone just came out. But if this is like a JP first EZA, I'd be maybe a little more harsh on him because, you know, it's been 6+ months since basically Red Zone came out on JP. Global Red Zone just came out, so, you know, like the LR Super Saiyan 4 is like Super Saiyan 4 Ajo Goku has like around 400k defense, right? And people love that unit, so I think that this could have been cool too. If they made that 50% chance, would be sweet. He'll age pretty poorly. Alright, and yeah, I guess they did use up all the Super Saiyan 4's EZA, so that could hurt for GG heroes, right? I would agree with that. 30% damage reduction. I think that's fine. And yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? Because he doesn't really need this 3 key because he has Prepared for Battle, Shocking Speed, Saiyan Lineage, and GT. That's a ton of key already. He didn't need key. Okay, cool. Enjoy running him. He's not mid, yeah, I agree. He's not in a lot of neglected categories. That is also true. Him being tech is also very good again. Just like tech units just have an advantage, right? Because they're Broly. That's the thing. Didn't give him enough. He'll hit good numbers and finally good full power lead, but he does leave a lot to be desired. Okay. Consistently hitting 7.7 mil at peak. His defense is mad, but you think he'll be fine as a floater. Okay. I haven't seen gameplay, but it's safe to say Baby Saga Worldwide Celebration instead. I would say I do agree. This guy would have been probably one of the big EZAs for that celebration, because after that's like we have LR Baby and then all these like sub EZAs. So I mean, not saying it would be impossible, right? It just would not really be too exciting, at least in the EZA department, right? My personal opinion though. Maybe people will be excited for, like, you know, again, Super Saiyan 3 GT Goku, for example, right? His EZA could be interesting. Mid, can't believe me saying he's worse than the Blues make people think that they're saying the Blues are bad, though. I mean, I think they're both good. Both the Blues and this guy. Designed poorly. Well, again, the thing is, I think that they gave you the Scouter because you're losing the defense at lower speed. That's the point of the Scouter. So you don't have this guy like get obliterated by a super attack or anything when he's at low HP, right? It's just that the stupid full power condition. I think if it was just 59% HP or below, I'd be more than fine with that, honestly. Because again, a lot of times you will be under this HP threshold, and forcing enemy super attack is such a good ability. A very, very good ability. Feel he's good, could be better. Mid. 8-9 million attack stats, yeah. I'm seeing pretty much this very similar consensus now. Again, I think a lot of people are kind of rounding back out, which makes a lot of sense. Earlier, you guys, I don't know. If you're on Twitter, you've seen, you know, a lot of the backlash about this. 8.3 million 400k defense. Again, I think that the defense could be better, but he's not mid for sure, right? Yeah, I think that's fine. Sure. Neat, really good. He's okay. I saw this, right? It's kind of funny. Omega's bugged you, I guess, in the shop for some reason. You have to spend 400 red coins for him. It's very weird. No, it's not garbage. He's not mid. And who? Okay, well, there we go. That is kind of like a community reaction video, I guess. That's what people think of him. And yeah, if you guys watched the video to the end, let me know what your thoughts are on the full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Thank you all for watching again, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.